I hope you're having an amazing day. My name is Colin, and in this video we're going to have a look at the biggest Launchpad opportunity of 2022. The Fear and Greed Index, extreme fear, like we've never seen before, under 10 points. A new historic low, it's at 9 right now. So the market is extremely fearful, and that is exactly where the opportunity lies. Of course, the Terra Luna destabilization of the market. The last 7 days, Bitcoin plummeted from 36,000 to 28,000 right now. On the monthly scale, 42, lowest low in this period, 26.7. So definitely a very turbulent market with the basically faulting of the Terra Luna ecosystem and blockchain, right? While they're trying to repair it, there is a lot of FUD, which creates a lot of opportunity. The market is fearful, and this is basically the moment where all the launch pads are on extreme sale. So obviously, as always, you would have to follow a dollar cost average. You can never predict the lowest low, which is very important. And I want to stress that if you're waiting for the bottom of the market, you're going to miss out. Hundreds, if not thousands of comments did I receive November, December of last year that people were complaining that they could not get into launchpads because they were too expensive. If you did not take profit along the way, your portfolio might have gone down 80% over the last couple of days, which is extremely unfortunate because let's say you had $10,000 and now you have $1,000. These launchpads are not as cheap because you have less money. But if you're like me and have a lot of stable coins right now, you can make extremely affordable entries right now. And that is obviously the opportunity of the bear market. The biggest opportunity because the prices are beyond ridiculously low, right? Everything has to do with the fear sentiment. And one of the core principles of investing is buy when others are fearful. One of the best all-round strategies that one can basically practice, right? And of course, it's very difficult if you haven't gone through a bearish market before. But I learned my lesson in 2017, where basically 85–90% of my portfolio evaporated in a 3-week period. So this time around, I was prepared. Did I lose a lot of money on Terra Luna? Yes. Over $50,000. However, mistakes have to be made. We need to learn from it. And now I'm looking at the opportunities. So we have DAOmaker down 36%. DAOmaker is not necessarily a platform I would be personally interested in because I'm more into the crypto gaming. For example, Seedify is extremely attractive right now. Although I already hold a lot of Seedify, I might make another entry because $1 is basically a no-brainer. Looking at the bull run, it was basically $16. And the question obviously is, when does the bull run come? It might come in 6 weeks, it might come in 6 months, it might come in 12 months. We don't know. I'm not the person to predict the market, so to say. However, I am going to dollar cost average into projects for the long term, right? Very important. I'm not looking for a quick flip. These launch pads will continue to devaluate while the market is bearish, right? Because when no projects want to launch their public round, their TGE event, because of the market conditions, the launch pads have no projects, which means they cannot incubate, which means they cannot make any money, which means there's no reason to hold their token, which also means that users do not stake, which means there's more supply and less demand, which means the price goes down. Very simple. The launchpad market is one of the categories that's hit the hardest during a bearish pattern. It does, however, create tremendous opportunity, but I would not go for the tier 3 launchpads. It's just too risky that these teams might give up and not persist through the bear market. I would definitely focus on the bigger launchpads. And when I say bigger launchpads, I mean DAOmaker, Firestarter, Seedify. I'm not too interested in the Bluezilla launchpads myself. Perhaps some launchpads with a bigger name, like for example Pools, Paid Network, and of course EnjinStarter. Where's EnjinStarter? It lost almost all of its value. It's right here. These have been around for quite some time. Avalaunch as well, obviously on the AVAC blockchain. These are very interesting launchpads to consider right now. When we look, for example, at one of the other ones on my radar, Firestarter Flame, I've been talking about this one since it got down to 36 cents, right? Which was about the end of February. Right now it's 7 cents, right? So definitely a huge opportunity to stack up on some Flame if you do have that opportunity. When we look at something like Unix, which of course the Launchpad is ready, they haven't launched anything because of course the market is in such a bad shape, 9 cents on the token, you will see tremendous pumps on these tokens when the market become bullish. They launch projects, they will quickly go back to their highs. And that's basically because that's how the Launchpad market works. So let me pull up Firestarter one more time and basically look at the 1 year chart. They had in the crypto gaming bull run between $2 and $3. Can you imagine if it goes back to $2, what kind of returns you would be looking at? That's like a 30x. So if you would put down is that a 30x? A 3x21? Yeah, that's a 30x. So if you would be putting down, let's say, $3.3 thousand, right? You would be looking at $100,000 worth of Firestarter token. Of course, you might need to wait 6, 12 months, and obviously the product has to perform, but the opportunities are ridiculous, right? There's definitely a lot of bullishness available. Doesn't mean that it can go lower. It can always go lower. But referring back to my statement of 3 minutes ago, it's basically very important that you understand that you cannot foresee the lowest low. And if you miss that bounce, right, then obviously that would be a shame. So the dollar cost average strategy is one of the most utilized strategies overall, and for a very normal reason, because it basically has the most longevity in terms of how you can approach things, right? So Communides is basically one of the launch pads that only reduced 10x in value, right? Not as significant, but you can also see from the chart, yes, it's moving down, but it's a lot more stable compared to the other paths. So it might not offer as big as an opportunity to basically turn around. Paid ignition sitting at 8 cents, coming from $1.60. So that's basically a 20x, which is, I mean, not that bad. When we look at EnjinStarter, I think it will be a lot worse. I'm going to open Avalaunch as well, and then EnjinStarter. They're coming from 21 cents, so that's a 70x in terms of their value. 70x that you would be able to pull in. So there's huge opportunities there. Avalaunch coming from, holy shit, coming from $18, but this was on the AVAX spike. So let's take it a little bit lower, $10. It's still 12 to 20x. Right? And again, of course, I'm talking about big opportunities. But in this case, what is important to understand is that, yes, you want to participate on these launch pads, but in a bullish market, you have the opportunity to exit out of these launch pads with profit instead of buying in on the tokens high to be able to participate in IDOs when there is maximum demand. Right? And right now there's almost no demand for these tokens. That's why the price is so low, because everybody's fearful. Nobody wants to invest into IDOs, but it might still be one of the best opportunities to participate in IDOs now, although the TGEs are being postponed, to reap the benefits later. But that's maybe a topic for a different video because it's a little bit technical. But I would definitely recommend you to do your own research. Definitely thoroughly go through the launch pads that you like. So the ones that I like, the ones that I'm considering, most of them I already have, but I would buy more. Downmaker, I don't think so because of their lottery systems. Polka Starter the same, but I would go for Seedify I would go for GameFi. I would go for paid network. I would go for pools. I would go for, perhaps I would consider Polka Bridge. I would go with Communitas. I would go with, let me see. I would go with Avalaunch. Maybe some Moonstarter. I would have to dive a little bit deeper. I would definitely go with EnjinStarter. Because I think the odds, the risk to reward ratio is just really good. What else do we have? And any pad is just too much risk, right? I wouldn't consider it for the amount of risk. True P&L, too much risk at the moment. So obviously, if you look at True P&L and any pad, you don't want to go delusional with the returns, right? So 1 year ago, this was 35 cents. So they basically lost 10x. Is it only 10x? Oh, I thought it was more. 10x. So it's not even, True P&L is not even that risky in that case. But any pad is definitely a lot more risky, I would say. So 1 year ago, they were at 9 cents. So that's 9 and 90x, right? 90x devaluation. The Launchpad is basically during a bearish market. It's nothing. So if you would invest your money here, even if it would just be $1,000, just don't expect it to come back, right? But it would be a huge opportunity if they can turn it around. Definitely a lot of negative feedback as well, that they don't like it that much. But definitely, as I said, do your own research. Make sure you research these platforms thoroughly because there's time, right? This reversal will not happen quickly, but when it does happen, just look back and know that you had. If you're watching this video, it basically means that you had a huge opportunity and you chose not to take advantage of it. So just let that sink in. The one foundational rule of investing, buy when others are fearful, in my opinion, applies here with the current market conditions. There is so much opportunity, you just have to spot it. That's everything for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.